So I did a section on writing linear equations. The purpose of this is to show you each different form that there are for linear equations and how to best change the linear equations from one type to the other, okay, using different methods. Sometimes you have to use the method that they're telling you to use, okay? And sometimes you have the choice of which method you're going to use to find the other linear equation. So I wanted to give you options. Some of them are harder than others. Some of them are easier to use in some cases and harder to use in other cases, like tables, okay? So when you're going through this, I want you to see how I'm doing this here so that you best can learn how to do each type of these and decide which method works for you, especially in a standardized testing situation, okay? Let's get started. So the three types of linear equations are slope-intercept form, standard form, and point-slope form. And they're all good if you are given certain information, okay? So like with slope-intercept form, if you are given slope and Y-intercept, that is the perfect one to use. Standard form is great if you want to find your X and Y intercept, okay? And point slope form is good if you are given your 1 point and slope, or 2 points, because with 2 points you can always find slope, okay? So let's do some problems. Now it's your turn to try. Pause the video and try it, and restart when you're ready. So the first thing I do is I find my slope. Again, you can use the formula if you rather have that. From 7 to -3 goes down by 10. From 3 to -2, we go down by -5. Change in y is over the change in x. So I get -10 over -5, which is equal to 2. Then we're going to plug it into y equals mx plus b. Here's an x, here's a y. You can use either point. I think that one will be the easiest since there's no negatives. I usually go with smaller numbers, or and then here my x is 3. I go with the smaller numbers or with all positives. It just makes every life so much easier. So then I have to subtract 6 from both sides. And when I do that, I get b is equal to 1. Okay, so now we just write our formula. Y is equal to, well, my m is 2, x plus 1. This is my equation. So on this one, we're going to find slope-intercept by using a table, okay? So we have a -4 and a -3, and we have 1 and 2. So from -3 to -2 is going up by 5. And on this side, we are going up by 5 as well. So this is like a perfect situation, right? M is equal to 5 over 5, which is equal to 1. So we could basically go -3, -2, -1, and 0, right? Just going down by 1, and then this would be -2, -1, -1, 0, and then this one would be 1 right here. So when my y is equal to 0, so my y-intercept is when y is equal to 0, whatever x is equal to, right? Oh my goodness, I keep on clicking on the wrong thing. Right? And here we just figured out with the table that it's 1. So now I have my slope up here, which is 1. I have my other y-intercept, which is 1, and now I can just plug it in. Y is equal to 1x, or just x, plus 1. Your turn to pause the video and see if you can do this. Now, it is the same problem as before, but try to do it with a table instead. Okay, so the first thing is we can draw our table. I have 3 and 7, and I have -2 and -3. And we already know that from here to here, we're going down by 10, and from here to here, we're going down by -5. So when we find our m, it was -10 over -5, which was 2. And 2 is like 2 over 1 because we have the change in y over the change in x. So that means for every 1 on our x, we are going down by 2 on our y. So here we have 3, 2, 1 on our x I did. And then if we have 7 on the top one, we're going to go down by 2. So we have 5, 3, and 1. So our y-intercept is 1. So now we can write our equation. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. And in this situation, we're going to find slope-intercept form using point slope form. So we have y minus y1 is equal to m, and in parentheses, x minus x1. Okay? This is probably the easiest way to do the 2-point problems. Okay? We also have 2 x's and 2 y's. We have an x and a y, and an x and a y, and we'll use that here in a moment. We're going to first do our table. We get -4, -3, and then 1 and 2. We're going up by +5 on both sides. And if we look back at our prior problem, m was equal to 5 over 5, or just 1. So now we plug it in. It's always easier to use the non-negative one because then you don't have to worry about the negative that we have up here. So we're going to do y minus our y, which is 2. Don't put 1. That's my number one shmee that I make on these. And then we have x minus 1, because that's our x over here, right? Because we're using this, these points. So our first one is to do our distribution. Y minus 2 is equal to x. 1 times x is 1x, so it's just x, and 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Now we can add 2 on both sides. Get rid of that, get the y by itself. And we have x plus 1. And here's my equation. See how easy that was? So easy. So now it's your turn to do it this way on the next slide. So now it's your turn to try. And you already have the slope from a previous problem, so you just really need to plug it into the formula. There you go. So we already knew that the slope m is equal to 2, right? Because we had a negative 10 over a negative 5 if we did our slope. And again, I would use this x and y here because it's positive. So we have y minus 7 is equal to 2, and then x minus 3. Distribution, y minus 7 is equal to 2x minus 6. We're going to add, oh, wait a minute, nope, we're not going to add 6 to every side. We're going to add 7 to both sides, add 7 to both sides. So we can get the y by itself and get it into y equals mx plus b form. And we get 2x plus 1. There we go. So super easy. So I just wanted to go over some additional examples where you don't need to do all the work. Okay, so our y-intercept basically is when x is equal to 0, whatever y is equal to. Well, right here, that's a y-intercept. So this makes it so easy. All we have to do is find our slope. So we have 2 and negative 2. And we have 0 and 3. So here we're going up by plus 5, and here we're going down by negative 2. So the change in y over the change in x is equal to 5 over negative 2, which is just going to make this all negative, right? So our equation is y is equal to negative 5 over 2x, and we know that our y-intercept is 3, so plus 3. Oh, that makes life so much easier. Now on this other one, if we notice, all of our y's, x's are the same. And we have a thing where it says when y is 0, whatever x is. So this is my x-intercept. Okay? And there's no way to get to 0 on this table. So this problem here is undefined. Undefined slope. And if you were to do it, we are going up by 1, and here we are going up by 0, right? So we have 1 over 0, which is equal to error in your calculator. So our equation here is just going to be whatever our x-intercept is, which is x is equal to negative 2. It's undefined slope. Your turn to try. So if we're looking here, we are going down by 2. So this up here, if we had gone down by 2, would be a negative 3. Here it's going up by 1, and so up here it would be 0. So our m is equal to -2 over 1, which is equal to -2. And our y-intercept is -3, right? That's our y-intercept. So let's write it. Y is equal to -2x minus 3. Okay, over here we have it going up by 0 on the y's, and we're going up by 1 on the other side. And I'm looking here and it's going up the same amount every time, so we know it's linear. So we have 0 over 1 as my m, which is equal to just 0. So we have a slope of 0, and our y-intercept again is right here. And so our equation is just going to be our y-intercept, which is y is equal to 4. Remember, to this lesson, we have the practice problems and answers, blank and filled out notes. And if you need more help, join our live Q&A sessions on Mastermind or join our Facebook community.